are jumping into lesson 5. We're almost there, about to make our first sell. So this is the solution presentation, right? So this is where we are making our recommendation just irresistible. We've already built that trust. We've discovered, we've tied it back to our impact. And now, guys, we got to make this just irresistible. They want us to do the job. They want us to do it as quick as we can. Let's close it. So this is where we're going to present our findings, present the psychology of making customers want to buy from us, how to handle questions and objections, which is something we see a lot. Why us, right? And present price to emphasize value over cost. So like we said in the beginning, we sell solutions, but we also sell value. So we have to tell them, educate them, teach them why us, why our price, and what would happen if they didn't choose us. And then obviously we have to find that urgency that we talked about in lesson 4 without feeling pushy or manipulative. So guys, the core principles here: present solutions and don't pitch services. So here we go. I got to move me around. I'm all over this place. So we're going to dive into the core principle, guys. This isn't about convincing someone to buy something that they don't need, right? It's about presenting a logical solution to a problem that they now understand and trust us, you, to solve. So it starts with the right mindset. The customer should be leaning forward. They should be, ready to move ahead. They're educated, they're sitting up, they want to know what's going on. Leaning back approach, they're kind of resisting your pitch. They're not buying in. They may think you're fake. They may think you're ripping them off. They may think you're not qualified. So that's why that first 10 minutes is important, because now we're trying to close. And if we don't have buy-in at this point, there's like a 10% chance we're going to close this deal. So what makes a powerful presentation? That, right? It builds on trust and rapport that we already established back in lesson 2. It connects directly to their specific situation and concerns. It focuses on outcomes and beliefs, not features and processes. It creates logical flow from problems to solutions and positions you as the obvious choice to do the work and provide the solution that they need. So the solve presentation framework, guys, if you can't tell, we're big on acronyms here, but summarize, outline, layout, validate, explain. So summarize, present the assessments professionally and clearly. I really like tailgates of trucks. I really like the kitchen table. I like coming in with a folder. We have branded folders. I don't have any around me at the moment, but we have branded folders with a branded flyer inside of it that has a spot for our business card. On the other side, it's got our statement of work. It's got our contract. It's got our pricing depending on what we're doing. And I leave my cell phone and stuff like that either on silent, in my backpack, whatever it may be, guys. No distractions. I'm here to educate and close this deal. I don't want my phone ringing. I don't want my phone vibrating. I don't want any of that. So we got to start with validation. So, hey, you know what? You had the right to be concerned. I found this. And go from most, the highest priority to the lowest priority, right? Start with, hey, man, this was bad. So while your roof may have been leaking, while I was looking at that leak and finding where it was in the roof, man, you got some really bad mold, bacteria growing, fungal growing in the attic. And, that's a health concern. I tied it back there. But that's probably our biggest concern when you get that mold cleaned up first, because now it's in the health, right? That's our biggest impact. Second thing is the roof. The roof's causing the problem. We've got to get up there and get that roof either patched, replaced, or repaired, okay? And then third, we got to get the drywall fixed. You've got some damaged, stained drywall. We know a guy, we don't do drywall, but if you want us to help you out with that, we definitely can. So you can see there, I went from not the roof, I went to the health concern, to the overall value concern, back down to another value concern. And I use visual aids. I show them the fungal growth. I show them the documents. I show them the drawings, whatever it may be, and go from there. And I do this in a very simple way, in a language that they can understand and they can follow with very easily. So the opening script, guys, kind of said, hey, I've completed my assessment and I really have a clear picture of what we're dealing with now. So let me walk you through everything I found, starting with priority 1, priority 2, priority 3, and loop it back. So the processional findings presentation should be the primary problem, the contributing factors, like I just did, preventative items, and then the summary statement of how we're going to provide that solution for them. So outline the consequences. My guy is all over here today. There we go. So if we address this now, we can go into those, right? Immediate relief, prevention, peace of mind, investment protection, all tying that back into some kind of urgency. If we don't address this right now, problems worsen, safety risk, higher cost, ongoing frustration. So we have to be ready for A and B, Jekyll and Hyde, and we need to present those, a manner of both ways for sure. And then creating that natural urgency, timeline, financial, safety, and then obviously delayed cost, right? So here's a great educational script that we've built and that we've used a lot is here's what typically happens if these issues aren't addressed. In the next 3 months, you can expect, more leaking going on in your roof. Your drywall could start to bubble and collapse. And then that mold and stuff that we found up there, it could get worse, which then would have an open pathway if the drywall collapses right into your house, which could prevent, a lot of health issues. So be respectful, educate, logical consequences, not pressuring, but like everything I just said there is very logical. That's what could happen if it got worse in the next 3 months. And then respect their decision process. If they're like, well, we're going to hold off or we're going to think about it, no problem. I just want to make sure you know what happens if we do it now. And then if we wait, are we good with that? And then confirm that they really do understand what the consequences are and if they do it now or do it later. And always ask that, do you understand? Or are we good with that? Okay, sounds great. Do you understand? We ask questions like that to get a report back from them so we make sure that everything is resonating with them and they're not lost or we've overwhelmed them and they're just saying that because they have no clue what we just said, guys. So always reassure that the client is on the same page with you. So lay out your solution, right? It's a complete solution approach. So based on everything I found, here's what I recommend to completely resolve these issues and prevent others from reoccurring. So we're providing a solution to the overall problem with that statement. Same thing, we're going to address the primary issues, specific action, the process of how to address that issue, and then the overall outcome, the contributing factors, the root cause, and then the prevention measures. So how are we going to make sure that this doesn't happen again and we're having the same conversation in 6 months, a year, 2 years, right? And then, why comprehensive solution, no callbacks, trusted partner. We're going to solve it the first time. We use premium materials, methods, long-term relation building, right? We want them to think of us as a long-term partner, not as a one and done kind of contractor. That's not what we're going after. And then the customized approach, right? Specific to their home, address their concerns, and match their priorities. So professional presentation scripts, I could just fix the immediate problem, but my experience, that leads to callbacks and ongoing issues. When I do a job, I really just want to solve it completely. So we're not pushing, but we're just trying to let them know, like, this is definitely going to be an ongoing problem if we don't address it properly, but I will address it however you recommend. But here is what I recommend. So validate the value, right? Quality value, expertise value, complete value, partnership value. The biggest one, guys, is literally just, the quality values, the materials, right? We don't use cheap materials. Show them the equipment. We have tons of flyers in our showroom from our vendors. Depends what we're talking about. But if they are looking for dehumidifiers, we're doing some April Air stuff in there, and we're showing them, the warranty, why we use April Air, the methods, and the long-term benefits of using those materials. And then obviously the expertise value, right? Years of experience. We do it first time right. We have X amount of 5-star Google reviews. We never get called back. And if we do, it's because we obviously missed something or there was an issue with the equipment that was not on us, but we will make sure to handle it. And here's our warranty of how we handle it. Complete value, right? We got the root cause, so we've got it completely covered up now and completely fixed for you. So you're going to definitely have that peace of mind that you've been searching for. And then partnership value, right? So we're a trusted contractor. We don't want to do business with you just one time. We want to do business for you, your friends, your family. We want you to call us the next time that you need a solution to your next problem. And then obviously, guys, a measurable ROI for them is return on investment, whether that's some kind of savings discount you're given, payback period, maybe it's in-house financing or helping them get third-party financing. And then the gains, they're going to get efficiency gains, windows, good one, doors, good one. HVAC, new HVAC unit's going to run way more efficient than an old one. You're going to save money on your electric bill. Long term, right? So what's the savings, future repairs, appreciation, things like that. The property, it's protected. It's going to increase your property value. And then it's obviously going to look more appealing to the market if you have a new roof or you have new windows and doors or you have new siding. Those are the things that we have to tie back in depending on what individual service you have. The property return on investment is really big for exterior guys, windows, doors, siding, gutters, even power washing, concrete guys. They crush it. Pool guys crush it with market appeal and increasing home value. It's a good way to tie it back in. And then obviously life quality. That's one of our biggest ones is we're able to tie back into health and life quality. So a lot of the things you're going to get, these are some very, very objections that you're going to get every day. Well, I can do that myself. Sure, you absolutely could. But by the time you figure it out, get the tools, and if you don't have them, if you do have them, you probably don't have all of them. Go to the store, get individual pieces, get individual components, and then we're going to do it in a fraction of the time that it could take you to do it because we do it every day. You may save a couple $100, but if that's the route you want to go, I totally get it. But here are some concerns, right? Technical expertise, like I just said, timing, safety concerns. Is it going to be actually done right? And are you comfortable wiring up a junction box? Are you comfortable tying into a breaker panel? I mean, that's some pretty risky stuff. Are you sure you're comfortable with playing with that much electricity? No warranty. So what happens if you install it wrong and you wire the fan backwards and it burns it up? You're out another fan. Then you're behind and you could have already paid us and it came with the warranty. So does that really make sense? And if it does, I totally respect your opinion. Cheaper options. This is my favorite one. Yeah, sure, you could 100% get that. But what happens if something breaks? How do you know they're going to be in business? We've been in business for X amount of years. We have over 100 five-star Google reviews. We have tons of testimonials and tons of happy customers. Why would you consider a cheaper option? Would it be better to have that peace of mind that it's done right? And then if something goes wrong, we'll be there to fix it for you. We didn't take any shortcuts. We do all of our stuff up to standards, up to manufacturer recommendations, and there's no hidden cost, right? So we're not going to tell you it's 500 and then go, and then keep coming back with change orders and raising the price. No, guys, this is the price it's going to take to complete it. I've already done a thorough inspection with pictures, documents, all this stuff. So there will be no hidden cost, Miss Johnson. This is your price, and we will have it done by the timeline we said we would. And then obviously the partial fixes, right? We'll just fix half of it. Well, sure, we could wipe the mold or we could give you some Freon, but you still have a leaking coil. So you're going to lose that Freon over the next 3 months or 2 months. And we're going to be right back here pumping more Freon in, costing you X amount of pound. And it's not really going to get to the root cause and cause that problem. But if that is the route you want to go, I respect that. And we can definitely do that. Let me get you a price on that, right? And then obviously, the value presentation is when we do this work, you're getting blank quality elements, right? My blank experience ensures the job is done right the first time with warranty backing, right? So show them why you're using high quality materials, why your experience matters, and what kind of warranty and peace of mind they are getting by using you, even though you may be not the cheapest option. It's not DIY, and you're not going to partially fix it. So explain the next step. That's the E here. So this is big. Scheduling is huge. People usually are needy and they want it done quickly, right? So what's your time frames? How long is this estimate good for? And what's the booking like? Can we change the date if we have an issue? What's your cancellation? What's your rescheduling policy? Things like that. Preparation. you know, hey, you need to have all this furniture moved, or hey, we're going to be doing this. You need to cover your pool up that day if we're ripping the roof off, or whatever it may be. Are you going to be home? Do you have dogs? What's your day? Do you work from home? All these things should be answered. We run into this. People think that what we do is quiet, and it's not. We use a 4 or 5 inch coring drill in concrete sometimes. And we had a lady run downstairs, and it was like, we have to bore through this. Well, how long is it going to take? About an hour, but we have to core through here to run the piping, or there's not much for us to do here. So we literally had to sit in the truck for an hour till she finished up some work, because she thought what we didn't require any noise. So make sure that they understand, what their schedule is like. And while you're there, provide them updates like, hey, it's going to be really loud for the next 30 minutes. Is that okay? Just so they know, maybe they can prepare to go outside or go to their car or go to a coffee shop or something while you are doing that loud, disturbing noise, so you're not interrupting their day. And then obviously the final walkthrough and the completion, right? We always take every customer through it. We walk them through the flow. We walk them through how things work. We go over the owner's manual. We show them the warranty. We show them what to look for if something's not working right, and when to actually call us, so we're not getting a phone call for every little thing. We show them how to troubleshoot some reset codes and things like that, and make sure they have all their warranty docs and everything right there on the unit. And they're free to do whatever they want with them after we give it to them. And then, the investment presentation, right? So it includes all the components. We want to know what we're going to use, the materials, the labor, and the warranty. It's the complete solution. Don't leave none of that out. You're going to get asked about it. Make sure it's spelt out in a good professional document, line by line. And then I like doing a value comparison of the ongoing problems versus partial solution versus future repairs. If they want to see different options, or if I even sense for a moment that they're thinking about just cutting corners or something like that, I really lay that out and say, you know what, you could spend $2,000 here and have peace of mind, or we could spend $1,250 and partially fix it. But I'm gonna be coming back in a little bit, and that $1,250 is probably going to double or triple, and then we're going to be back to solving the root cause, which we could have fixed for 2,000 today. So you tell me how you'd like to proceed. I just want to make sure you understand all of your options. Payment options is big. This is really big right now because, the economy is tough. People don't have a lot of money, especially for emergency repairs. Real estate's another one that when something comes up on the inspection report, they're not prepared to pay for it. And they may ask us to charge the closing or whatever it may be. So guys, use your best judgment on that. Know your client, know your area, know your audience, and make sure you're making the right decision on things like that. But obviously, best value is full payment. When someone pays us full payment, we give them the best absolute price that we can give them. Financing, we don't do in-house financing. We use a couple other companies for financing. So we are like, hey, I know you need this HVAC unit. Obviously, you don't have the money. Let us help you get qualified for some financing, and let's explore those payments. This provides a more flexible payment option. And then deposit plus progress, right? This is pretty common for roofs. It's pretty common for landscaping, new construction, exterior, big projects. Deposit to start, and then progress payments to completion. So handling questions and concerns, right? Technical questions. Like I said, we walk them through, how does this thing work? Why this versus this? How long will this last? This is a big one for like shingles. They want to know, how long is this going to last me? When I go to sell my home, I'm going to get asked this. And is there any maintenance required? We get asked this a lot on our indoor air quality equipment. What do I need to do if it does this? Or is there anything I can do yearly or monthly or quarterly or whatever to ensure a longer lifespan of X product? So the project process questions: how long will the work take? Like, that goes back to my original statement about asking them about their life and their schedule, and if they're going to be home. Disruptions to expect. Talked about that with our hammer drill. And when can you start? It all goes back to the scheduling ability and understanding when they're going to be there and how long it's going to take. And the weather interferences. What happens if we get a snowstorm? We don't have to worry about this too much, but a lot of you exterior guys obviously have to worry about weather. And then obviously the value price questions, right? We went through those. Just kind of a recap here of handling questions and concerns and things like that. So the 5-step question handling process is acknowledge, clarify, answer, confirm, and relate. Kind of shows you guys how to handle those. And then positive versus negative buying signals. These are things that you can identify as you get into your selling journey very quickly. You'll be able to tell if you're going to close a deal really quick. You'll start seeing the overall character of the customer. You're going to see how they present themselves, how they interact with you, and you'll know you're about to close a deal. A lot of good verbal signals are: when can you start? What do you need to prepare? What do we need to prepare? How long is the warranty? And what are my payment options? And then obviously the physical and behavioral traits, like I talked about: leaning forward, engaged, nodding, they're understanding it, asking timelines, and then, talking about future work and future relationships is always a good positive sign that they're about to make a purchase with you. And then obviously the negative, the hesitation and the concern signals. We need to think about it. That's my favorite one. It was really more than we expected. That's my number 2 favorite one. We want to get other quotes. That one, I get really, really tied up on that one because I truly do feel that what my company offers is the best. And when someone tells me they want to get other quotes, I go directly on the defense. And sometimes I get too aggressive, and I have to catch myself, especially early in my career. But I totally respect you, Miss Johnson, that you want to get other quotes. And can I ask you why? If it was up to just you and me today and this price, would you say yes? You would. So why would we need to get other quotes? Do you not trust us? Is it a trust? What are you expecting to hear from somebody else as far as another quote? And then figure it out right there. Is it price? Do they not trust you? Do they think you're not an expert? Ask those questions. Just don't go, oh, okay, thank you. No, figure out what it is. Figure it out. Because it may be that you didn't explain it thorough enough and they don't understand exactly the value of the solution you're providing. Figure out if it's something that you can combat right there. And you may be able to flip that negative to a positive buying signal by just, if it's strictly pure price, it's hard to flip. You can talk about your expertise, your value and stuff, but if they are 100% set on going with the cheapest person, that is a very, very, very tough person to flip back to a positive buying signal. And I will warn you, and you guys probably have already seen that as well. So this is my favorite. I love creating natural urgency. I know how I can just read people really well, and I don't know why, but I'm very good at seeing how they're reacting. If they're anxious, if you can tell it's really bothering them, I kind of dig in a little bit harder because I already know that they're in a panic. They want this fixed, and so I start creating natural urgency real quick. The problem's progression. It's gonna get worse. Seasonal factors, man. We're about to go through winter. Do you really want your leaking roof covered in snow, and then we can't get to it till like April when the snow melts? We probably really need to think about getting this done right now before winter gets here, or it's going to be a rough winter of us crossing our fingers hoping that leak doesn't get worse. Do you agree? And then obviously market conditions. This is a big one right now in HVAC and roofing with the refrigerant and the shingle cost. Hey, shingles are going up 5 to 10% every month. We can lock this in now and get this taken care of, because by the end of the summer, we may be looking at 30% more, just so you're fully transparent. But I just want to let you know that you're not forcing them, but now they're thinking in their head, oh, wow, if I have to pay 20% more on a $20,000 roof, that's $4,000. That's a vacation. It's all about creating that natural urgency. But we don't want to give that artificial pressure, right? We don't want to give those false deadlines, manipulation tactics, and the kind of that fake scarcity. If materials really aren't going up, don't tell them they're going up. Just don't. Don't tell them it's going to get worse if you're in the middle of summer and their roof's leaking, because it's probably not going to rain for a month, right? So you have to make sure, if you're creating that natural urgency, that it's actually a natural urgency that needs to be addressed. So logical urgency factors, the problem progression, the seasonal factors, the market factors, and obviously availability. Availability was a huge factor that we played during COVID, because it was a factor. There was material shortage, there was manpower shortages, there was COVID guidelines, there were so many other things. So availability of products, materials, and manpower was a urgent factor that we played heavily in. And then the educational urgency, and there's some scripts down there for all this stuff, and the respectful approach. So reading customer signals and advanced techniques. So positive buying signals, hesitation signals, we went through that. Advanced closing techniques. These are some of my favorite. You know, when we schedule this work, what time frame works best? So assume that makes them feel like we assume they're moving forward, right? My other one is, would you prefer to start the next week or the week after? I'm looking at my schedule. I just want to see if we're going to fit your time frame, knowing that I got availability. But then I start getting a little bit of buy-in from them, like, well, yeah, next week would work. So I'm like, okay, so now they're starting to buy in, and then they feel like they're committed, right? And then so you want to resolve all these issues with the property. Is that right? I just want to make sure I understand where we're headed with this, so that you don't want to just band-aid it. You want to go ahead and replace the whole roof. Perfect. Okay. Um, so then my favorite one that I always end emails, text messages, phone calls with, hey, I'm really excited to work with you. And become your trusted contractor. It's so nice to meet you, or have a good evening, or whatever it may be. I'm always just telling them how I am excited to work with them. Not possibly, not maybe. I am excited to work with them. That helps me get a little bit more buy-in from them without being too pushy, or too salesy. So, um, so let's jump into the key takeaways, guys. This was a long one, so please dive back into this one. This is big. So we've been building up, 4 lessons up to this point, and now we're trying to close the deal. So this is where we really want to get into, laying the foundation to ask for a close, which we're going to go over in lesson 6. And I will see you guys in lesson 6. Take care.